Capricorn, welcome to your astrology and tarot for February 2021. Capricorn, this is a huge month for you in terms of ownership. The things that you own, you possess. If it's to do with money, it's to do with resources, it's to do with your income, and it's to do with value. Transits in the second house bring to your attention what is most important to you, what you value the most, and how you go about achieving it, maintaining it, or removing those obstacles. So for a lot of you, you will have money on your mind. We have the sun, we have the new moon, we have Mercury, we have Venus, we have Jupiter, and we have Saturn all in your second house saying, look at me, it's time to make more money, it's time to invest money, it's time to get real about money, it's time to get into that energy of letting it flow or figuring out why it's not flowing or figure out where it's going. You know, it's looking at your output as much as your input, but you possess and you own so much more than that. What is it that matters most to you in life? And that's not just about money, because with every link in astrology we have everything's connected. It's not just the money house, it's the value house. So you get to see what your moral convictions are, and you get to see what it is that matters most to you in your day-to-day life. Maybe it's who matters most. Maybe it's the values that you have, and figuring out if they're out of alignment. Maybe your finances are out of alignment as a result, because everything is vibrational, but without getting too much into the woo-woo side of it and the metaphysical, it's astrologically speaking, this is a very important time for you to get a relationship going with your finances. Now, because you're an earth sign, I think you'll already be doing that, to be honest. It's likely that you already have that in your life, either a savings account, or you take inventory about what you have. Perhaps with a stellium there, maybe you have too many clothes and you need to get rid of some of that and make some space in your wardrobe. Maybe you have too many pairs of shoes. Maybe you have a collection that just doesn't mean anything to you anymore. Whatever it is that you might collect, maybe it's tarot decks, maybe it is a selection of jewelry. It's figuring out what it is that still holds space in your life and making some room where you need to, but also noting where your expenditure is going out, if you're spending unnecessarily. If you're looking to make money, in feng shui, typically having a clear, clean environment is a way to generate prosperity. And in the law of attraction, making space can also, ironically, draw in money. But with so much there, especially Venus being there and Jupiter, Venus-Jupiter aligning in your second house is a beautiful aspect for making money. It really is. And Venus and Saturn is giving you more a realistic standpoint, so you have the ability to manifest money, but you also have the ability to hold on to it, to figure it out, to have a little bit more conscious thought towards it. And with Mercury, strength, I like it. With Mercury retrograding in Aquarius, Capricorn, for you, you're really thinking about it, especially in terms of your gadgets. You're seeing how much you're spending on your phone, how much you're spending on your computer, Wi-Fi, that type of thing. So you're probably looking at those bills and thinking, I could maybe cut this out, or maybe it's time for an upgrade. Remember, Mercury retrograde is more about inventory rather than action. So, Strength card popped up for you. You could be dealing with this month. Yeah, the sun is underneath. Leo energy could be prevalent. It could either be something in your chart that's popping up, maybe you're a Leo ascendant, or it could be that you're dealing with a Leo person in close proximity that you may need to have a little bit of patience with. You may need to be a little bit more gentle with them. It may also be that something in your life is requiring a great deal of patience and resilience from you at the moment. And it's saying it will come. Time will come. So let's get into the tarot side of things for Capricorn. Obviously, your ruler Saturn is still squaring off with the love energy in your chart. The fifth house, the romance, the playfulness, the creativity. Mars and Uranus being there has, Queen of Cups. A water sign personality, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but this can also represent you in your creative space, as we were just speaking about. Okay, the Sun, the Lovers, and the Eight of Cups. Some of you have recently walked away from a relationship or have had someone walk away from you. If it's neither of those, it just symbolizes that there's something in your life that's changing, Capricorn, but this is an energy of changing for the better. You're moving into the next phase of something, so maybe you're leaving behind singledom, maybe you're leaving behind a property, maybe you're leaving behind a job. But the energy is of shifting. This could be that you're leaving a place that you live in, a city, whatever, and you're moving forward. But it looks like you're moving forward with somebody into something beautiful, something romantic, a new chapter in romance is how I would see this. So whatever state you're in, it's a new chapter for the better. A new chapter in romance. Because anything in your life, judgment. Capricorn, anything in your life that is solid is just going to move to the next level at the moment with that stellium. Anything in your life that is secure is going to move to the next level. So for many of you in long-term relationships or solid relationships, that could be an engagement. That could be meeting someone that's solid as well if you're single. For some of you, that could be a Leo. For some of you, it could be a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or a Libra. I think some of you are getting engaged. I really do. And some of you are thinking of signing an important contract. With Mercury being retrograde, it's not that you can't do it. It's just not recommended because information can be skewed. So with justice there, if you have somebody legal in your life, get them to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. If you have some kind of representative, get them to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and you go through it too. You will have noticed in January, for the last 2 weeks of January, that anything that's transpiring in Mercury retrograde will already be kind of in flow. Okay, the issues that have been there will already be in flow. You'll have experienced them. So let's have a little look. Eight of Wands, Queen of Wands, Five of Wands, that Eight of Cups again. The Lovers, I love it. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to leave the Lovers sitting up like that because why not? What a beautiful reading. It's funny how Venus exits your sign, but you know, when Venus is in the second house, it just, to me, is a lot to do with seriousness. And your second house and your fifth house are occupied in a big way in February. And because of that, you know, so much of the sky is just in those areas. Because of that, there's a huge focus for you on what is secure and what is playful, what is beautiful, what is romantic. So for a lot of you, this square is actually provoking serious feelings and a let's do this kind of energy, or let's not do this, or I need to find something else. Especially for Capricorn rising. There is a seriousness to it where you are getting very real about the type of romance you want, the type of person you want, or the type of direction you want this thing to go in. For a lot of you, this is kind of funny, but for a lot of you, February is going to hold some romantic fights and they're going to bring you closer. So if you're going through a period of tension at the moment, what I'm kind of getting from the stars and the combos here is that if you're in a romantic relationship where there has been some friction, some tension, some fights, you're bonding. You're getting some stuff out of there. You're getting some stuff up in the air to be cleared, to be sorted out, and to figure each other out. You know, I think a lot of the time conflict can come around when someone is fearful, when they're fearful the other person's pulling away, or they're fearful the other person isn't respecting them. You know, it's a lot to do with a fear of abandonment deep down, because disrespect is typically a prelude to that, right? So I think for a lot of you, you're establishing some relationship boundaries, but you're also kind of getting a feel for the other person, and this can happen, you know, years into your relationship. So I do feel, yes, especially with the Sun card, I do feel like love is taking a really interesting turn, but in a good way. I think Mercury retrograde, what I'm seeing for you is that it's causing a lot of friction, it's causing a bit of conflict, it's attracting a bit of that, it's messing up your communication in a way that will show you what is real and what's not. And if something is disintegrating, if something's not working in your life, it will be to generate a space that pulls in something beautiful. And for some of you, that could be the one. But for those of you that are with a very healthy, loving relationship, don't be afraid of a little bit of friction. And I'm not saying provoke it at all. I'm not saying to generate it. I'm not saying to go looking for it. But if there's a little bit of a friction, lean into it and say, you know, why am I annoyed? Why are they annoyed? What's this really coming from? Open up that dialogue and lean into it and see that there might actually be a beautiful want on both your parts. So for a lot of you, it looks like a Leo to me, Sun, Moon, or Rising. What's underneath though? The Page of Wands. Yes, it could be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But I am seeing a very high level of communication going on for you. Now, Neptune is it's in your sector of communication, especially if you're Capricorn rising, you know, take what resonates. But it's now moving apart from the true node, and the true node has been in Gemini, which is your 6th house, which is your routine. So I feel a little bit like some Capricorns may have had a misalignment between the information you've been receiving, the communication that you've been receiving. You might have had a little bit of misalignment there in terms of your day-to-day work and your day-to-day routine. So in matters of work, I also feel like there may have been a particularly challenging individual. Could be female, but someone who has been quite blunt to the point of rudeness, a little too direct, a little bit too business with no connection. And I know that sounds so strange to say to a Capricorn. I think a lot of you will appreciate, you know, no nonsense business people. But in any work environment, for people to thrive, there has to be a little bit of personable contact. There has to be a little bit of warmth, and especially in team dynamics, there has to be a glue that holds together. And I feel like some of you are getting that back. I think some of you are overcoming challenges with a person in your life in a work environment, and you're starting to see that there potentially has been I thought I was going to sneeze. There possibly has been a bit of a veil over the dynamic, and it's starting to lift the more that Neptune and the true nodes separate. So what I am seeing for you as a challenge is leaving something behind, is the change aspect of it. So I do feel like for some of you there has been a recent change that you're still grappling with, and that's okay, because change is actually incredibly frequent in our lives, but we rarely take the time to sit, reflect, and figure out what it means for us, and why sometimes we can be upset over things that we don't realize we're upset over. You know, for example, a lot of people at the moment are probably feeling quite upset at the lack of freedom. You know, the freedom that they had, that they took for granted in some areas, and that they're not being able to progress the way they wanted to because of the current pandemic, or because of restrictions, lockdowns, that type of thing. And you may be feeling on a personal level that some changes are relatively quite hard. So because the Lovers is coming up, you have an option. You have a couple of options. If this is in work, if this is in career, you have a couple of options on what to do. I think for a lot of you, you could be considering a move. The sun can oftentimes mean changing countries. It doesn't necessarily mean a sunny country, but it can. I also think a lot of you are considering a new option that has been presented to you in terms of work that may have a lot of competition, but you're more than enough, you're more than deserving to get that position. So that is something that I'm seeing for you. Now let's have a little look into the oracle cards. You had quite a lot. I'm going to put those back. Another thing I want to draw your attention to is the full moon in Virgo at the end of February. Virgo for you is very idealistic. It's in positive aspect with your love sector. And so I'm seeing for you that some of you may be getting into a relationship that is either long distance, or you may meet someone who's from a different culture, a different background, or who possibly has a very different education than you, or a very different degree in education. So 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron. Beautiful. So, you know, that would be the third eye chakra. That would be your intuition. Now, what activates your intuition? Your intuition is actually, Capricorn, whether you realize it or not, this year And the second half of last year, because the eclipse cycle is going to be in your 12th house and your 6th house, you're actually getting very intuitive about work, and you're going to be learning how to transform your work situation through your intuition, through making better judgments, through making sounder judgments, especially with the deceit card here. If you have been deceived before, or maybe there really is somebody in work that you don't trust. For a lot of you, that's still too many. So many cards are flipping out for you guys. It just seems to be probably bad shuffling on my end, but I also think what comes out is meant to come out. So one more card for Capricorn. You're trusting your gut about somebody in your life that seems somewhat deceitful. Okay, so let's have a little look. Pull one more. There it is. Envy. So there could be a little bit of jealousy in your life at the moment. Either you're feeling envious or someone's feeling envious of you. Again, I'm kind of getting this as a work dynamic. Someone in work who's maybe a bit challenging. They're maybe a bit shirty with you. It could be because of envy. So don't take it too personally. Take it as a compliment. But obviously trust your intuition on that one. Because envy can be very, that's leading with ego. That's not leading with the soul. And so if you're trying to make decisions that are good for your soul, if you're leading from a place of envy, or you're operating on the advice of someone who could be envious, you can end up with really malaligned decisions. So be mindful of people around you that seem a little bit envious. Or if you're feeling envy yourself, it may be because you're going for something that has a lot of competition, or you're fighting for attention. If you're fighting for attention in some regard, Capricorn, it may be a sign that it's not the right fit, but not to worry, because there's something beautiful on the horizon. Yes, there is. Golden opportunity just popped out. I love this card. Important doors are opening for you right now. Walk through them. If other people are jealous or annoyed about it, don't worry. You have to keep your eye on your opportunities. Longing for home, belonging. Okay. So for some of you, I think you could be feeling with that Eight of Cups kind of homesick, or maybe you're moving back after a period at home, or maybe you're missing somewhere that you live, or you're having to move for an opportunity, and there's a little bit of missing someone there. With the Page of Wands underneath and the Ace of Swords, reach out to people. Make sure that you're in communication. With Mercury being retrograde in the 2nd house, yes, you could be reevaluating your technological finances. You could be finding that your phone bill is high or whatever, but make sure that you are prioritizing your money in terms of what you value, reaching out, staying in contact, staying connected with people, because I do feel like there could be a bit of homesickness, Capricorn. So if you want to look into the extended, we get more into the Lovers card, into the different signs of the zodiac you could be dealing with in February. The extended is linked in the description box below. If not, I will see you guys soon. Bye.